Book Over, a little book club where we talk about books, especially the ones that give us book hangovers. I'm Sarah, and with me is Megan.
Hello.
And we are continuing our Ruthless Boys of the Zodiac with books 2 and 3.
Yes.
Savage Fae and Vicious Fae. Okay.
Yeah.
Every time I talk to Megan, I just call it the Ruthless Boys or Dark Fae. Like
yeah,
every time. Like you just
I feel like everyone either calls it Ruthless Boys or Dark Fae. Like that, you gotta have a shorthand for it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
and it's usually like the first book title for like series, right?
Right. I felt well, kind of. It just depends, I think, on
the series. Yeah.
But okay, so I'm dying to talk about this, and I've been holding off on reading book 4. So we could get these because they're mushing together for me because it's just so good that I'm like, what happened in what book? And so this might be a little jumbly between the two books.
But that's okay.
Might be like a big mashed potato of the two books.
Yeah, especially because I've read the whole series a while, but I read the whole series when they had the old covers.
Right. And I'm new to it. And so it's so fun. But okay, before we start about the book, I just have to say through these two books, okay, the first book, I was on the fence about how I loved Leon just in general because I loved his personality and stuff.
So great.
But like now I just love Leon so much.
He is a brilliant character.
So like he's just so like, and he's not just fun. Like we've got to see the lion side of him a lot in these two books. But like he's so good for the group of these characters. He's so good for them. He's like the glue.
Jinx! Oh my god, I loved that. Jinx, yes. He's like the glue. You owe me a Coke.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, so I just had to say that because like I really wasn't sure where he was on my scale of the guys, and I have to. I still really love Ryder. There's something about Ryder.
He was my favorite for so long until Leon took his place.
And Leon, I think Leon's just always gonna be like he's like the overall. Like if you have like a list, he's like the big watermark that's behind the list. Like he encompasses like the whole list.
I love that he's the I think that's like the perfect way to describe it. Oh my, that's like I think he'd love that.
Yeah, like he's just not even on the list because he doesn't need to be on the list. He's the
water.
He's the whole thing.
That just sounds so Leon. He's a brilliant character. And I remember the first meeting of him where he's giving the tour, and I was like, honestly, I was like, he's all right. And it took me a minute. Like I was like, okay, Dante, Ryder, even Gabriel a little bit at first. Gabe grows on ya. He grows on ya. Like you're like conflicted about Gabe.
Yes.
But also someone just has to fall to the bottom. And then, for me, I always say, and this isn't a spoiler, is it a spoiler? Should I say this? Well, no, it's not, because people know that he's in Zodiac Academy. It's not. In Zodiac Academy, I love Gabe so much. Like he is like a favorite of mine. So I have nothing against, I love Gabe, but it was always like a competition with Ryder and Leon for me for top spot. Once you get to know what Leon and his Mindy, like come on,
Leon and his Mindy's
Fae book. I mean, that's so brilliant.
His Fae book posts. Like I seriously, okay, so I took a break from this series waiting for the recording, and for a while though, a few days afterwards, when I would go on Facebook, in my head I would correct it to Fae book. Oh, let me post a Fae book. And then I found a song that's like the perfect Leon song, and I'm obsessed with it, and my daughter loves it. So now when we drive, we listen to it like 5 times, like in repeat, and like I now replace words in the song to like fit it to Leon's. Like it's like all the ladies, and I change it to all the Mindys. Like it's just like
Sarah, you need to record that for TikTok. You need to do a TikTok of you changing the words to that song.
Oh gosh.
And like Leon inspo pics.
Yes.
I saw
I'll work on
somebody
him.
post a TikTok of someone of this guy that was their Leon. I'm like, oh my god, I have to tag Sarah. It just looked perfect for
Well,
Leon.
someone
Oh,
else posted a picture of a Leon and it was like perfect. It was perfect. And I was like, this is Leon.
there's a couple Leons out there. Like, thank
And
God.
Leon's not my type. That's the thing that I think baffles me is Leon is not my type in
Hmm.
reality and in books. I would never go for a Leon. But I am now. He has changed me.
Huh. You know what? I think the jokester, see, in books he wasn't my type, but I think in real life that's my type, like the jokester kind of. Yeah, no, that is my type. Yeah, kind of like an alpha, but joking.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's what I like.
Yeah.
He's done very well because he's got that sense of humor, like that girls love. You know, but the confidence too, the
Confident. He's a
cockiness.
lion. He's the lion.
He's
He's
such
got the
the
lion strut, the
sunbathing.
stretch, the sunbathing. That like I love when it's sunny out. He just starts stripping down. He's like he's late to every class because he doesn't care. He's the Leon, like well, he's
He's
the lion.
yeah.
Like I'm like I just like I want to get like a Maine Coon cat that's like yellow and fluffy and name it Leon. Like
Leon, I love that. I love that. Well,
and just not tell my family it's named after a book and we're all good.
don't tell him. You're like, yeah, he looks like a Leon.
Yeah,
Leo. It works. It
it
works.
works.
And of course, Leon's a Leo because it's perfect. Like lions are such Leos. It's just,
Mhm.
yeah, it works for him.
So our
But
episode's all about Leon, everybody.
yeah, it's just Leon. This is a Leon love session. Sorry, not
No, okay,
sorry.
I'll just share like I have a quote highlighted and he was talking about Elise and how she smells like cherries and ecstasy and he's like fucking Cheska Cheska I can't even say it. He combined the words and it was like I loved it. I love Leon's progress too from being selfish,
Oh, yes, his character
pamper me,
development.
take care of me, I'm your king, to
Yeah.
trying to do things for her, like make her that god awful sandwich for a picnic. You know, he
He's
trying so
trying.
hard and like, and he's like, wow, like I'm trying. And she loves it because she's like, this is awful, but like you made it for me. So I love that about him too.
Yeah.
Like all of them though, all of them. So she's so good
All
for
of them,
all of them
yes.
because like all of them are like, I'm doing this for you, which they would normally as like alphas not do. You
Yeah.
know, like I just
Especially like Dante and Ryder that are astral and what is it? Astral enemies. Oh my
adversaries. I can't say
astral adversaries. Astral
there you go.
adversaries. They when you can take people with a blood two gang leaders with a blood feud and make them play somewhat nice with each other, that's something. I mean, and
Yeah.
that's doing more like for society for their society because these
Mhm.
gangs like rule the streets of where they live.
Mhm.
So like that's like you
Yeah.
know. And then Ryder with his like, all his damage and his pain, and Elise is like the only one that can like get to him and like make him eat something that's not oatmeal.
I know, right? She's like, well, and then
Yeah.
I
She's
love
like, there's pleasure.
right.
There's more than pleasure. Like there's more there's
There's
more
more.
than than lust and
Yeah.
pain.
Yeah. Yeah. I just it's so good. So okay.
Knuckles.
Book 2. We'll start
Mhm.
with it really quick.
Yeah.
Gabe rescues her from her
From that
Killblade.
evil cult people. Yeah.
Yeah, hangover thing, takes her to his secret apartment he has in the lunar area, and then she gets mad at him and runs away and ends up in a bar that
Oh
has Ryder's
yeah.
like second in command, and he comes and like saves her, but then he's like pissed at her at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
These
So
guys,
Ryder.
yeah, so Ryder. I'm
So
like, come
Ryder.
on, you guys. Like, I love it. But gosh, there's just so much that happens. I'm like, how do I even this? Like, so this is the book where Dante and Ryder make that pact, right? That
Where they can't.
where they can't do certain things with her. And so then it's like torture. It's torture, this whole book for them because they can't. So Leon helps Dante find workarounds.
Yes, which I love. I love that Leon's like on board with helping his friend and his gal.
Yeah, I love it. And I think this is the one where we get the shower scene. So like Dante and Leon and Elise. So Leon and Elise, and then Dante watches basically. There's a yeah, that
It's a
one
good
was
workaround. Yeah.
they found some workarounds. I love it. And I bet poor Elise is like, if you would just break the pack, but the guys are so stubborn, they won't break the pack here.
They just
Not
both have to
yet.
agree to it. And then
Yeah. And then but I do like the progress, like the whole Gareth thing too, and like how
the flashbacks.
the flashbacks, and then
Seeing
Elise
how the
finally,
boys were with him back then, and you're questioning things, and
you question a lot because Gabe had so many guilty feelings. All of them do, but like Gabe had a lot,
Gabe
and I'm like, oh my
especially.
gosh, what did you do, Gabe? What did you do?
Right.
And then so Elise finally tells Gabe, and then Gabe tells her what happened that night and how he like beat him up. And then she was okay with it because she's like, that's what Faes do. You just did what Fae did. You didn't kill him. You did what you should have done. That's
in their
natural.
society.
And I was like, wow, and I was like, I was so relieved when that happened though, because I was like, oh my gosh, like what did he scared me a lot, because I'm just waiting for the Gabe fallout to happen. I'm so nervous about this, and like Megan knows what's gonna happen, and I don't know what's gonna happen yet. It is like killing me, and I have so many different ideas of what's going on with Gabriel. So just go there. And then the nightshade stuff, the shady. I love Ryder like going into her office, and did they have sex on her desk? Yes. And got caught, or they couldn't because of the pact. They couldn't because of the pact, but they fooled around on it, and then the janitor caught them and they had to leave or whatever. But
and he also can like ensnare her in those visions, which I think is kind of like his workaround.
Yeah. It's really good. It's and sorry, I have notes, and I'm like, let's read my notes, because so the very end, we're just gonna stop to the end of book 2, because book 3 I think is like the book for me right now. So at the end of the book, Dante and Elise go to the strip club that Dante's gang owns, and they're there on like kind of a date, and like she's dancing for him, and he was like dancing for her a little bit in their like private room, but then the club comes under attack and ends up being Ryder's gangs there. But then what they find out too by the end of that whole scene is that Felix, Dante's uncle, is the one that set it up. So Felix is wanting Ryder to kill Dante, but Ryder doesn't want to kill Dante. Ryder wants to kill Felix.
Yes.
So like he lets them go, but he's such a tough guy that he can't like fully admit it. He's just like, I'm gonna, so like they get, and it's like that. And so poor Dante is now having to deal with finding out in his family, like who's on his side, who's on Felix's side, making those pacts so he can feel it if they break that pact of like loyalty and stuff. And so that brings us now into book 4.
Well, and I think with Dante is that like for him, like what he treasured about his gang, and he thought his gang isn't as bad because it's based on family, and Ryder's is like, we're gonna chop him into pieces. Like he views his gang as like the good gang, and then he's realizing, okay, there's corruption in my gang. They're working with our enemies. They're not like there's like bad things afoot. So I think it also opens his like this is the first bit of like him being able to open his eyes and maybe see a little more of where Ryder's coming from. The start
of it all. I think so. I think so. And so we get Dante's birthday. And so and for a birthday gift, see, this is back to Leon does a role play with Elise where he like, so I love how Leon like pickpockets, and like so he ended up like stealing a bunch of Dante's like jewelry and stuff, and he like drapes it on himself, and then they role play and he videos it and he sends it to Dante, and he's like, happy birthday. And I'm like, that's just like, I love it. And then we have
a Leon thing.
Is it? I love see,
well, like, I love his thievery, that his family are these like these very proud thieves, and that's how they like,
we didn't talk about that. So Elise goes to gets tricked by Leon to go to his family's house. And so
Yes.
he's there for dinner. And then Rory, his brother, shows up,
Rory, yes.
and he steals the car. He shows up with the stolen car of the car that Leon's always wanted. But the thing is Leon wants to steal it in like the actual, like, Leon has pride in the way he takes the stuff, and he doesn't like skip corners on it, right? So like, didn't his brother like just find it with like the keys in it or something?
Something like that. I mean, there's definitely a competitiveness with him and his brother. But
Right.
yes,
But like, he just felt like his brother did it like just like so willy-nilly and stuff, while like Leon would have like planned it out and like actually like worked for it. Like
yes.
that was his dream. So what I love is like Elise can
That Elise
see the competitiveness, and so she pickpockets the keys, and so when they leave they take off in the car, and I loved that so much.
Yeah, and I love that. I mean, we're not there yet, but I think it makes the family respect her more. And there's like I really like Leon's family dynamics. I like seeing it. I like
we get a little bit more of it
relationship with his brother.
In book 4. So we're on book 3. I think I called it 4 a minute ago. We're on when we get to book 4, which would be the next episode. When we do this, not like our next, but okay. I think we get, when I finished this book, I did read the first
couple
chapter of book 4 because I needed to know.
But we'll say that Rory is an important side character because he will get his series as well.
I kind of thought with is it Dante's little cousin, is her name Rosalind?
Rosalie, yes.
Yeah.
So some of these characters will have a book will be in the Darkmoor series. Yes, I won't say who, like, well, I mean, I think it's okay to say that, you know, the people know, and they came out. That's the thing. They didn't, like, Dark Fae didn't finish and then Darkmoor came out. Like, they came out, like, you know, at the same time. There might have been like 2 or 3 Dark Faes when Darkmoor came out. So they do a good job of not spoiling it. So I think it's okay to say that, like, Rory and Rosalie and an undisclosed other person that hasn't been introduced yet will be from this series, will be in that series.
Yay. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
It's really good. Yeah.
We find the Cindy Lou Dante shrine, so we figure out why
Cindy Lou's so shady. She's obsessed with dragons. I love it.
Oh my gosh, insane.
It's hilarious.
Crazy.
I feel bad for Gareth though, because Gareth would have
been so good for her, like anybody. He would have been awesome. I mean, if you're okay with just like normal,
yeah, but
normal Pegasus, then like he's your guy.
Yeah, but she just was
not good.
All about, I don't like the drag. He has a dragon obsession, and it's hilarious, actually.
It is. It's really the fact though that she was like using him to get and then that Dante didn't see it too. That always bothers me when like women cry and they don't see it, and it's like, come on, like listen to Elise, like
yes.
Yeah. And so in this book it was really good because this is when basically everyone by the end of this book knows who Elise is and knows who her brother is.
Yeah.
So
big reveals
happen. I believe Ryder knows, and then Dante finds out, and then lastly it's Leon who will find out. But we get the anti-venom moment where Dante's second in command breaks the pact or whatever and tries to trank and kill him or whatever and gets Elise instead. So what does Dante do? He runs to Ryder with her, and Ryder gives her the anti-venom to save her, and then makes a necklace for her. So she always has it, and she ends up having to use it during the end when they're fighting the king and stuff, right? No.
When they're down in the tunnels, and there's the vampire that's been trapped down there.
Yeah, that's when she uses it. Yeah.
Who do you think that vampire is, Sarah? Not that I know.
Oh,
Oh, is that something you didn't even think about?
I didn't even think about that, Megan.
Oh, what are you? No wondering who this trapped vampire could be.
Who's the trapped vampire? Is it from Zodiac? Do I know who the trapped vampire is?
I
Do
don't
I
know
know
if
it,
you know who
Megan?
I will not say, but I'm
Oh my
saying
God.
there's that vampire that, you know, was feral and blood hungry and being trapped down there. You know, why is that vampire there? Like, who could that vampire have been? Will he come back or she come back later? I don't even know. Like, who it is? I think we know it's Nikita.
Okay, great. Yeah, no, I don't know. I think I'm gonna figure it out.
Something
I
to
didn't even think about
ponder.
it. I was just like, they put them in there as like a part of the tunnel maze. I didn't even think about that. Oh my gosh. Okay, great.
Well, now you have something to consider. And
Now I
anyone
have
else
something.
who might be following along and hasn't read book 4 and 5, that's a good thing to theorize on.
2 and 3. Oh yeah, and 4 and 5. Yeah, sorry. I'm like, what book are we on? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay. We get our Zodiac Academy trip. So they basically make it so this whole group can go to the Zodiac Academy for their special day.
Isn't that great? It really gives you a taste of Zodiac Academy. I think that if you're starting out
Lance.
with a series or you have it, like it, I think it's perfect to suck you into Zodiac.
Yeah. And I always liked, because I read a little bit of Zodiac Academy and then I
Yes.
stopped because I was afraid of it getting sadder. So
Yeah.
I've always liked Lance. Like he's always been
He's such a great character.
so seeing young Lance and then Leon, like totally like there's just a part where like Leon gets
So
there and he's rolling
fanboying.
around the pit field and like humping
He's
it and stuff. And he's like,
obsessed.
stop molesting my field.
And it's nice to see a young, not disillusioned, not jaded Lance Orion too.
It's so
Before
nice.
his dreams are taken.
It's yeah, we get to meet some of the characters from the book like at a party and stuff, and it's just like nice to see everybody beforehand. So this is a really
The
good like
heirs, yeah, when they're
before
young.
you get to Zodiac, I feel like this really gets you into the world and understanding a lot more of things before reading it.
Especially if you prefer RH. And it's like, and Zodiac, you know, is heavy on the bullying at first. Not, yeah. So I think for me, I read Zodiac and Dark Fae at the same time, and I was like, okay, which one am I going to get more addicted to? And I was just so into reverse harem that I went with Dark Fae, but I had read a good amount of the first Zodiac. And then I started reading them as they came out. So by the time I was on like book, I don't know, book 3, it was like how I had already read some. So I don't even know how many Zodiacs I read by book 3 of this. Because they came out, it was like Dark Fae would come out, Zodiac would come out, Dark Fae would come out, Darkmoor would come out, Dark, you know, it was like coming out. So I can't even keep track of how much about Zodiac Academy I knew at this point.
Yeah. Well, I like
when
what
I originally read it. Yeah, I think that's smart. That's what I'm saying. I did start with this first. So I read at least 2. I might have read 3 books before going back to Zodiac. I can't remember, but I think it's the way to go personally because it's chronological and it will get you, I think you're right. It gives you enough taste to where it's easier to get sucked into Zodiac. So,
well, and it's just that it explains some things too that I know, like, and just even like the orders and and the elements and all that stuff. Like it goes in, it explains it all. So it's like a really good like beginner's course.
Yes, it is. Yeah, they like give the tour of the houses of Zodiac Academy and all that jazz.
Yeah, and I love their time at the Zodiac Academy. What was the hardest part for me was Leon feeling so betrayed by Elise and him going full lion on her and like turning on his charisma and telling the Mindies to keep her away. And she's like, just talk to me. Like, cause he's like, he feels like she was just using him because he's the happy, fun guy. And that's not it at all. She's just having a hard time explaining to him why she didn't tell him and what she likes about him. So that was, Megan got so many messages from me about how upset I was over Leon being upset. I was so incredibly devastated
I know.
that my
And I'm just
Leon was
thinking she
so
has to
upset.
get through it. You just have to get through it. It's worth it.
It is so worth it. It's
They
so, oh my
needed
gosh.
it.
Okay,
They
so
had to go through that in
a
order to have.
major part happens while that's happening. So Leon's upset.
Hmm.
Ryder and Dante decide to end their pact agreement, and the threesome happens because they're like, the only way this is going to happen is if we do it together.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes. And I'm like, they needed that. I think they're going to end their whole, obviously, they're going to have to end that whole thing. They can break it. And I think they're going to need, because they're going to need to come together to solve their problems. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think Ryder's going to help Dante with the Felix thing, because everyone's realizing that Elise needs everybody. Everybody brings something for her. And so if it makes her happy, they're going to do it. And I think eventually they're going to realize that they make each other happy as well.
If
And
they
they need
can
each
get
other.
if they can get past what happens at the end of the book, that is.
Okay. So we have the threesome, and then we have the big Nightshade showdown and the king showdown thing. And that's when Gabe breaks the barrier of his memories, and he starts remembering stuff. And I'm remembering, he remembers a green dragon, and he remembers twins. And I know I'm like, I don't know if that means he's like a brother or if he was a part of what happened to the twin sisters. So we'll see. I'm waiting. I'm so excited to find out. But I'm really happy for Gabe because that's something he's really wanted to do. So I'm really happy about that. But then they get down in the tunnels, and I love that Leon joined them to help save her. At the very, how did Nightshade have so much energy to fight them though? Well, some, like, they're young, they keep like falling, they keep giving out, getting stuck, but Nightshade just, I'm like, 1 against 4.
Well, she's part of that evil cult stuff,
Yeah.
so maybe that. I can't remember, honestly.
I was just like, wow, you have a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Also, backtracking, I love how Lance tried to help them, and I also love how Gabe
Oh
helped
yeah.
Lance when he got drugged.
That's something to remember because
He's hitting on Gabe and flirting.
yes, Oreo. That's something. That's a scene that's an iconic scene that comes back so many times
Oh, does
between the
it?
two of them. Their bromance. That's the start of their bromance.
Oh.
I can say that, and that there's like a scene in multiple books like that where so there's always something happening with the two of them. They get into some shenanigans,
Oh, I love it. I
and
love
it's
that for
always
them.
hilarious. It's
Good.
always like you're gonna love it. It's so great.
I love it. I
Yeah,
love
their
it.
relationship
Yay.
is. I love their bromance.
I love that. I love a good bromance like that. Oh my gosh. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
We're all over the place. Okay. So the ending, they're fighting Nightshade and everything, and Leon's fighting. And I love this because it was a really good moment. Like, it's intense, but there's even a time where, like, Elise tells Ryder, like, she's like breaking through to him and like, no, I love you. You're more, all this stuff, because Nightshade's trying to tell him he's nothing and no one cares for him. And she gets through to him. But then there's the Leon, and Leon's fighting, and then like Leon dies. And I'm devastated. So they all, the fight's over. They all go to Leon, and they're like giving, like, I call them death gifts. But like,
Nice.
like, so like Dante gives them a thing, and they're all giving him stuff and saying goodbye to him. And Dante's so upset because they're friends. He
Yeah.
touches Leon and he accidentally shocks him back to life. And I just like, yes, right. And so
Yes.
he's so happy, but then you have to remember the whole thing about like mates and the stars and stuff, and how they said like they do have a trial. They have this trial. And then after the trial, they decided they want to be together. So here I am reading it, and they're getting out of the tunnels, and they're like, oh, it seems like things are getting blurry, and he's like, time, like he's missing time, things. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he's like a zombie lion now, or some weird witchcraft things happening. That's just the next bad problem. And then like they end up together for the mate thing, and I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
they're
that was
they're
their trial.
Elysian mates.
I loved it. And then, but then, freaking, what's his name? The mouse dude. Had
Eugene?
to, yeah, Eugene called the cops. or the FBI.
Oh,
FIB.
Eugene.
And you know, and so the cops are coming. So Elise didn't
The
get to talk to
fib.
the fib, yeah. And so she didn't get to tell the other guys that no, like just because I'm picking Leon doesn't mean I don't want you guys. So they're all like rejected, upset, and
Devastated.
then they
Gabe
all
had
like
thought that that was his mate. He had seen the visions and all that. He was so
so
convinced.
so that's how we end it, is them having to flee. She's happy with Leon, but she's also heartbroken because she loves the other guys too. And so now
I'm glad that she didn't reject him though because of the other guys. Like,
yeah,
thank gosh she didn't do that to herself. That would have been terrible.
that would have been really, yeah. I know you know how this goes down, but I'm hoping that somebody else either gets that. So they're all gonna go through another trial, right? Because they gotta figure out this like being friends or something. So I'm hoping either she gets another moment with another guy to say yes to him,
Mm-hmm.
or like the whole like group ends up, because like they're all feeling rejected. So I'm like, somehow like are like her and the three other guys or two other guys, because I don't know if Gabe's gonna end up there, all like end up there, and then she can like all together, or like even if just one more happens, then they all can be like, oh, we do have another chance, like because it's the stars, it can go whatever.
Well, I will say this, that in the world of Solaria, and of the books, that it's very rare, and and we will see this later on, it's very rare, and they're kind of like, oh, Elysian mates, like you get special this and that, and
Right.
we haven't seen that. It's Elysian mates are very rare. Did you catch that or no?
I catch that.
Did you catch something?
But
Anyways,
can I
but they're very
like all of them are very, like, all of them are, all
well,
their orders are,
and I don't that's
besides
true.
hers.
But I'm saying not a lot of, I'm saying that even people that don't get that's like a very special thing. And I think, didn't Elise's father leave them or something because he found his Elysian mate? Is that I don't remember. Yeah. Is that what they say? Mm-hmm. That he left the mom because he found his mate, even though that's yeah. So there are other ways, like the speed, like the wolves can like have like moon, like can get moon marked.
Are we gonna get a moon mark? What do the dragons get?
Well, there are different things, like each species has a different ritual. Like I don't know if you've like in the next book, we already know Leon and her are mates, so like I will say, this is not a spoiler, I don't think, that they do in the very beginning, they do like the thing that lions do to declare that they're mates, like, because again, Elysian mates, like for example, Leon's parents aren't Elysian mates, right. And they're in a like harem relationship, because like that's what they do. Lions have prides, they have all these girls, so like that's important.
I love this, Megan. I love this. So are you just open? Because I'm thinking I'm stuck on the one thing. But
I'm
now,
just saying, be open that there can be other
things.
There can be other things.
I want the other things. How fun. But
I'm just that's all I'll say. We know it's a reverse harem, but that's all I'm gonna say. Like, so
I just wish I knew what all the things
about.
were.
Maybe the love story is about, can you defy the star? Like, how much does the stars get to say about them? Who knows? That's all I will say. Like, does love defy the stars? I don't know. I mean, I do know. And for those of you that do know,
no. If you know,
I'd love to hear your thoughts on what I'm saying.
Okay. I don't have a hair book because I just started book 4 and read like the chapters like 1 and 2 to make sure everything's okay.
Just say, keep reading the series.
Mhm.
You know, if you're reading along with us, just go to 4 and 5, Zodiac Academy, Dark Fae. Just read everything in this world.
Mhm.
Just read it all. Read all
Agree.
of it.
I agree. Okay.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah. All right, everyone. We will see you next time, and we will be doing books 4 and 5.
We
when
can
get
go
to it.
full on. I can't wait to get Sarah's reaction.
Woo, I'm so excited. Now I can read them. All right. Have a good one, everyone. See you
Thank
next
you,
time on the
everybody.
Booktober.
Bye.